Hey guys, it's me, the Fallen 835, also known as Robert, and today I'm here to review another figure. Today I'll be reviewing the DC Direct Mass Effect 3 Grunt figure. Now Grunt is part of Wave 1 of their line, and he is a non-playable character from Mass Effect 2, and depending on the ending of Mass Effect 2, he's also a character that appears in Mass Effect 3. So, this is the first ever character I have got, or figure I've got from DC Direct, and I have a few problems with it. I have a few gripes, and in some ways there are some advantages to this figure. So, if you was thinking of buying it, then please watch this review and take into consideration the points I've made here, just so that you don't get disappointed when you actually come to choosing your decision. So, the figure. Here is Grunt, and as you can see from the start, he's really detailed. Very well detailed, in fact. The paint scheme that has been applied is amazing. There is no blemishes, there is hardly any paint spills onto the skin or onto any other parts that shouldn't be painted. The main paint scheme is this nice metallic silver which runs throughout the armour, with also blue highlights in the middle section and also in the feet. He also has the skin colour which is a brownish, which highlights really well that he's alien. Now, let's start off with the problems of this figure, because let's face it, this figure has a lot of problems. Firstly, the articulation is appalling. It's very bad, it's very limited, it's not what you would expect from a figure of this size, but also how much you pay for the figure, which I'll get onto later. But let's just say it's more than your average Transformers price. So, his articulation. His head can look left and right, but that's it. It can be twisted all the way around, but as you can see, as soon as it gets to about this level, the plastic on the inside starts rubbing with the plastic of the armour. And eventually what's going to happen if you continue to pull it around is that it will scratch the paint on the inside, and you'll get a figure that has hardly any painting and scratches all over it, which you don't want. So yeah, he can look from side to side like that, and that's it in the head. So he can only look straight ahead like that. He has no ball jointed head, he can't look up, he can't look down. It's very limited. Again, onto the arms. The arms are again limited. They can go out at the shoulder and move forward and back. They can only go forward that much because, as you can see, the skin here is rubbing on the shoulder pad, and when it goes back, again it rubs on the shoulder pad. So another limited articulation. It can go out that far, although it's pretty much pointless articulation because it doesn't really help the figure in any way, especially when you're trying to pose this figure. And it can't go further because, again, it hits on the side of this pad. The figure has no waist articulation. He has forward and back legs. However, they can only go forward that much because, again, the plastic is rubbing on the inside, and as you can see, that will eventually wear down and it will break the figure in time if you keep trying to push it forward. It can go back about that far, which is probably the most articulation you'll find on this figure, and then it can't go back any further than that because it rubs on the back there. So you can sort of get him in a running pose if you want. However, it doesn't really look good. And his last bit of articulation is that these feet can be moved left and right, and they can be bent all the way back if you want so. But yeah, and also his knees can bend upwards like so. But without the other articulation on the legs, they pretty much get wasted. His accessories, he does come with his famous shotgun, which you see him use in the game. Here is the shotgun itself. As you can see, it's very well painted, with very nice paint detailing. It's got a rust effect, a bit like the armour, to sort of hint that it's been in combat. It's got painting details on the back of the white and blue for the inside. It's a very, very nice gun. It's big and it's thick, and it can hold in his hand very well. Now, a problem with some of these Mass Effect figures from DC Direct is that the hands weren't able to hold the guns. However, with Grunt, this isn't a problem because, as you can see, his fingers are thick, which means that they can hold the gun. However, when you first put it in, you put it in like this and it will just flop. It's not very stable and it will come out like so. What you have to do is really try and push it in quite far. Now, do not put a massive amount of force on this, but put enough force so that when you put it in his hand, it will firmly lock in place. Like that. Like that. So as you can see, it's in place. Now, the one other problem about the gun is that his hand, as you can see, it's got a ball joint articulation. This, where the plastic has rubbed away, or the plastic is not strong enough to hold the gun just flops down like so, which means he can't really hold his gun flat out. It does stay in position sometimes, but then if you tap it, it goes down. It's not very stable, and it's trying to pose him is very annoying when that happens. Now, with the other hand, it hasn't got this problem. It's quite stiff and it works. However, you can't hold the gun in that hand at all, which again is another gripe I have about this figure. His other accessories include this, which is a Mass Effect free multiplayer code. There's the code if you want it. I have not been able to play Mass Effect free multiplayer because I do not have the key card to be able to get onto it. So if you want that code, just post in the comments and I'll send you the code via a YouTube message. The only other accessory he comes with is this, which is a tab, a base for him to stand on. Now, if you have any of the Batman, Arkham City or Arkham Asylum figures, you'll know that these come with the infamous bases. You get loads of these. I don't mind the base. It's not really necessary to hold Grunt up because, as you can see, his legs are far apart, just enough so that he can stand. And because he's quite a bulky figure, he doesn't need much to get him to stand. So, as you can see, he's standing pretty well there fine. Like so. Which is quite cool. However, there is one problem. This, I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, slightly there. I don't know if that's paint, or if it's glue, or if it's something that came onto the base, but it's basically been marked. I know you're not going to see it because this will probably go into a box or be on the bottom of the figure, but it's still not what you expect when buying a figure that costs this much. Now, I did miss out one point of articulation, which is his waist, but his waist can only do that, which is not much articulation because it gets hindered, these side bits get hindered on the armour of the leg, so it's pretty much redundant and it doesn't do much. So, yeah, it's pretty pointless. Now, the one thing I do like about this figure is the head sculpt, and the head sculpt is amazing. Not only have they captured the lightness of the crest of the Krogan, but they've also captured the skin and muscles of a Krogan's face. Now, bearing in mind that in the game the Krogans were CGI models, it's been done very well, extremely well in fact, that they've replicated the CGI model near to perfect. I couldn't really say anything else. The only thing I want now is another Krogan figure, because as we know, Grunt isn't a fully fledged Krogan, he's a youngster in a term. And the main Krogans have a bit more of a head crest, so if we could get a figure of that, it'd be great. But I doubt that they'll carry on the line, because it's not very popular, and because of the following reasons I've just said, you can see why it's not popular. So, overall, would I recommend this figure to you? Now, if you're a Mass Effect fan, get it. If you're a fan of Grunt, get the figure. However, bear in mind that when you're buying this, you are not buying an action figure such as this. You are buying a statue which has some movement. That is basically what you're getting. It's something you put on your shelf and look nice. It can't be used for anything else because of the limited articulation it has, which again is a downfall. And I feel that if these figures were made by NECA, who make the Bioshock figures, then they would have had more articulation, they would have been able to stand better without a base, and they would still be the same price, they would also still have the same detail, and I feel they just overall make them better. However, DC Direct is what we're getting at the moment for Mass Effect figures, so I doubt NECA will make them because they've got more successful lines. So yeah, that has been my review of Grunt. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope this review has made up your mind whether to get the figure or not. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all next time with another review. Bye for now.